Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, y'all won't believe. I was ready this morning and I clicked on go live, and that camera did not open up. I had to restart the computer. I be trying to get here at 7 on the dot, at least by 7:01. Good morning, Miss Paula. See, Miss Paula is already here. That's right, Friday. Yes, it is Friday. We made it. And we made it to day 8. Like I can't even sleep on that today. We made it to day 8. 8 days, me showing up every single day, living and thriving, being Miss Inspiration, doing what I know that I love to do, but I don't only do it because I love to do it. I do it because I know God is putting me here. And um, I want to share with y'all what happened in a conversation yesterday. Yesterday, I was speaking to someone and they were telling me, no, we were talking about someone, and I made a comment, and I was like, that person's doing team too much. And they were like, I thought God said that sometimes they got to do too much. And I was like, yo, you know what? Let them do too much. Let them do too much. That is a perfect thing. And they reminded me of my words. So I appreciate that. Sometimes we forget, you know, we don't understand someone's why. That's very hard for a lot of people. We don't understand other people's why. So we don't understand why they're doing things. We're thinking like the world. So shout out to my mentor for reminding me of my own words the other day in that conversation. Sometimes some people are their why, their purpose, we don't always understand. And that's a good thing. But yeah, I'm just like, I want to acknowledge everyone that has been following. I want to say thank you. I have received some messages and my DMs, people that have been able to catch the replay, but they just listen, so they don't do all the hashtag replay. But for those of you that have been and you are watching this on the replay, let me know that you're here if you're not just listening to it in the background. Hashtag replay in the comments wherever you are watching, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. It does take a lot to wake up every day and to do this. Um, and I just thank you for listening to me, following me on my own journey as I reclaim and proclaim being the person that I know God needs for me to be in this season. Um, that's not a small thing. It's not a small thing at all. So I don't take it for granted. And it just pushes me even further to just keep going and keep doing this, because I believe it's helping someone, either just inspiring them in wherever they are in their journey. And I also think it's inspiring people to take action, like to take action to get back on track, right? Get back on the path that they know that God needs for them to be on. So I say thank you for whether it's 7 o'clock your time, 8 o'clock, wherever you're located, if you're on the West Coast. I thank you, because that is not an easy thing to do. So today's conversation, um, again, I came up with these 21-day prompts that helps me go through this journey to have these conversations. This is really more so for reflection. And I'm now going to start. Oh no, this one is fine. So this one today is when God reminded me of my purpose. And you have probably, this is something that we've talked about already. God has reminded me of my purpose several times. Several. Oh my gosh. Like there's some, and it's like, and I know, trust me, I know God is frustrated with me some days. If you can be honest, have you ever done things that, you just look and be like, God, I'm sorry. I know I'm being a little difficult. And I think this is one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to accept, right? Accepting who I am and what I'm called to do is it's pretty difficult. And I know that so many people might not understand that, but it's not the easiest thing. You know, we hear about people doing stuff, and that actually pushes me away from, wanting to step in this, and especially within ministry, because there's a lot of foolery going on out in ministry right now. And ironically, yesterday, on my TikTok memories, I think in 2022, someone had posed the question, like, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen in church? And the video that I did, that I stitched to that prompt, I shared. And even though that happened in 2016, I did that video in 2022. And in 2023, hey, good morning, Bola. In 2025, I'm having even more revelations of like, this is why people run away, especially from their calling, from the anointing, from the ministry. I'm not crying, guys. Something is in my eye. Like my eyes are just, maybe it's just so early. Um, and people don't want to be tied up in that, you know. We see a lot of crazy stuff, and people say that, and they're using, I'm doing this because I'm purpose to do it, and sometimes it is a form of manipulation. So there was a conversation on my TikTok page underneath that video, and people was just adding more insight, and I was just like, wow, like things that I was questioning back in 2016 when that particular incident happened, and just to have like new revelation in 2025. And that person was like, yeah, so many people will use their gift to manipulate people for their gain. And I was just like, I definitely don't want to be one of those people. I do not want to be one of those people to ever use my gift to manipulate someone, for my personal gain. Like that should never be. But let's get back to this particular prompt. And again, you can use this prompt for yourself. So I have a couple of points that I have here written. So I think I can't even give you like a concrete time when God reminded me of my purpose. I think just every single day that I will pray about things. I will ask God for clarity about things. And he just always seems to send those reminders, from the woman that was going to commit suicide until she received that message, you know, me being able to know what happened after that, because I had no knowledge. It's not like that person had sent me a message. From I think just being a blessing. And I think when I realized, you know, so I had this misconception when I was first starting out with like walking in my purpose, being purposeful. I had this misconception like once you're doing that, like life gets perfect, right? And I think that a lot of the times that I have stepped back and I have said, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something else, has always been in the time that I was going through a trial or tribulation. Now, if that is something that you can agree or that you have experienced, drop a one in the comment, because I think that's something that a lot of us we tend to do. Our life is in shambles, and He's speaking to you about your purpose. He's speaking to you about your calling, about your gift, about your voice, your talent, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. You're in this space of like, woe is me. And trust me, I was a woe was me. Me and God have had many crying moments. I'm on the floor. I'm in the prayer closet. I don't know what to do, right? And he is starting to speak to you, right, Paula? Paula, drop that one in the comment. He's speaking, you going through all. That's why I just love God, because it's like, I feel like sometimes it just be like, yeah, I know. I got it. I got it. I just need you to keep going. And that's when he would just keep talking to me. And I remember when I had to apply for this job. God told me to apply for this job. I applied for the job. They called me back. I went for the first interview. And the morning of the second interview, my mortgage company took out a second payment in 17 years. This has never happened again. It happened that one day, and it never happened before, and it has never happened after. And I remember, like, I needed the job, but now because my mortgage company took an extra payment, they now have taken all of the cash that I've had. And of course, they can take your money that fast, but it's gonna take 3 to 5 business days for them to reverse that and for you to get your money back. So I had nothing, right? Just like Whitney, I had nothing to my name. And I just went into panic mode, and a friend of mine called me that morning. We're talking about something, and then it was just like, I guess, on her heart, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I normally don't tell people my problems. If 2016, 2017, very few people was on that phone list because I was not comfortable sharing any trials and tribulations, because that was pretty much like the first time that I ever have really experienced that. And I remember, she was like, she was going to send me a couple of dollars, and I was, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. So as I'm sitting here anxiously waiting, God is speaking to me, and he's like, "Okay, so I need you to go live and talk about this." And it wasn't about my problem, it was about something else. And that is when I realized, like, your problems are big. They're big. All of our problems are big, but God's purpose is bigger. And remember, I kept saying over these last couple of days, sometimes, we are looking for, because society, social media, they talk about algorithms, they talk about views and analytics. God doesn't care about any of that. God does not care about any of that. I'm going to be so honest with you. We care about that because that satisfies us. That satisfies our ego. That's potentially giving you dollars into your checking account. But God doesn't care about any of that. He's like, I'm going to send the people that needs it. And if you get 1 million views, amazing. That means that there's even more people that I can send to you. But sometimes in that initial phase, like in this kind of stage, the first 8 days, there might not be anyone here on the first day. So I think what you guys really started tapping in, I think, Paul, I started noticing that you were tapped in like day 4, day 3. So many people, and I would have been one of those people in the past. The first 3 days, no one is there, man. I'm gonna just log off. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. God is like, no, you got to keep going. You got challenges with technology. They're gonna be there. They know they're gonna wait. Then, as long as I'm not doing anything crazy, like I'm supposed to start at 7. I'm logging in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you're just being disrespectful. I mean, unless life happens like that. But we have to be reminded. And I had to go live that day in that particular moment of me going through a storm, trying to figure out how am I going to get to this interview, because I need this job. And God, you told me, and this is when I should have realized that he was going to take care of everything, because he told me to apply for this job. He gave me clear instructions. But when we're in our season and we're in that turmoil, we forget about those conversations. We forget that he told us to do that. So, but we got to get out this space of thinking, like, just because we're walking in purpose or we have a relationship with God, that it's going to be perfect, because it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, And so that was one of those moments when I just had to walk in my power and just understand, like, don't focus on that part. Don't focus on what's going wrong. Focus on the purpose. Focus on the people. Focus on the individuals that need this right now, because right now you are what they need. And he's going to send the people that we need. Right? So, and he was. I had exactly enough car fare to get to the interview, and that helped me that's when I started to realize when I say, right? When I say God doesn't want us, excuse me, when I often say to people, like, we focus on, the physical, and he's focusing on the spiritual. Like, he's handling that part. And he knows everything that you're going to need. So this is why when we're like, okay, we have to follow his path, we have to let go and unlearn what our life, our world is telling us, our family. So, I know I was raised. Was y'all raised this way? Put in the comment if you was raised this way. You were told never to leave home unless you had enough money to get back home, right? If you were told that, drop a 2 in the comment. If you were ever told, don't you ever leave this house unless you got money to get back home. Don't you ever leave this house unless you got money to take care of yourself or to feed yourself. This is what we were told. That day, God said, no, you got exactly, I think at the time the MTA was $2.75. Ironically, I had exactly $2.75. Not a dollar more, right? Not a dollar more. Okay. I didn't have a penny more. Paul said to this day. That's right. I had exactly $2.75. So I'm listening to what my mom is saying over here. And my mom is like, don't you leave that house without no money. And I'm hearing God say, go, I got you. So at that time, that morning when I poured into that video and people tapped in and they got the message, God was pouring into someone wherever they were, and God was pouring into them to pour into me. This is how it's supposed to be. You show up for what people need. God show up. God's going to send those that's going to show up. That's why I never liked the concept. But people get upset when they say that, oh, everyone that I was there for, they wasn't there for me. Okay. That might not be that might not be how God designed it. God might have designed it because you can be a blessing to that person. But 9 times out of 10, if you're constantly being the blessing to a person, and people like the world, they like even exchange. So if I keep giving you money, when I need money, you should have money for me. No. Right? Because 9 times out of 10, they might still be in a financial situation, whether it's in 6 months, 6 years, you never know. But when you stand and you're like, all right, God, I trust you, he's going to send the person that's purposed to help you. And it might not have anything to do with the people that you have helped over the years. That's something that a lot of people don't understand. And I get into people be trying to tussle with me in social media when they post those kind of posts. And they're like, and I'm like, no, you're trying. And sometimes these people be Christians. They trying to mix 2 principles. And it's like, you can't do that. You can help 100 people. When things go wrong in your life, none of the 100 people that helped you might be prepared, might be purposed to help you. But God will send you a brand new 100 people to help you. And I had to learn that being in Tulsa. I came here, I have no friends, right? I had nobody here. It was not like I moved to a Charlotte in Atlanta where I know people there, or at least in the general area. I didn't know anyone in Tulsa, Oklahoma when I moved here. And we have a community of Tulsa Remote of over 3,000 people. When I had ordered a dresser, they sent it to me, it was broke, right? And I had to send it back. Out here, when you need to send it back, you can't just call and they would pick it up. They was like, no, you got to bring it. And the hardest thing that was for me was to sit and write that post on, we use Slack. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't like asking for help. And I even had to get away from what my help was going to look like. So I put it out there like, hey, I need someone that has like a flatbed truck that has the strength, because my back, I can't lift that. I was like, I need help taking this box to UPS, yada, yada. And so remember I said I had to detach from what that help was going to look like. And the reason why I had to do that, because I was expecting a man, big man come in and pick up this box. No, it was a young lady. A young lady came and she helped me. She carried the box. Like I couldn't do it. She definitely did better than me. And I was just like, wow. So we have to sometimes just understand, like, in that particular moment, that was her purpose. Well, her purpose was to help me. I couldn't call, XYZ from New York to come and do it because it's not geographically, it's not possible. And I couldn't just put it out there. Any guys, like I just put out there anyone. I was very clear, like I can't just ask for a man because that's the assumption. Here was a woman who had a truck, a pickup truck, and she was willing to help me, and I had to receive that help, and I had to reduce and remove all expectations and apply those limitations. So sometimes that's what our purpose is, you know. And I think I don't know if Bola's still on, but I know the other day, Bola, who's watching on TikTok, I mean on Instagram, you know, she was like, just serve. That's another part of your purpose. That person for that day, that was a part of her purpose, and that was a way that she served. She served and she helped me. I sold the seed because she didn't want anything, and I was like, I just couldn't do it. I had to give her that because that box was heavy. Okay, so just want to just continue to, you know, to encourage you with that, because I think so often we miss the mark in our day to day when we're operating in purpose, right? It's not always about using the gift. It's about also just showing up and just being the person that God needs for you to be at that particular time. And whether that's a you know, someone you just sitting with, you know, you're seeing a lot of seniors right now. They just need someone to come and just sit with them, just talk to them. They don't need you to make them anything. They can still cook for themselves. They can still shop, but they just want company. This is why we're seeing, you know, caregiver positions are happening and those kind of roles are being developed. Sometimes you just need to just be that person that somebody just needs to just talk to, right? They don't need your opinion. They don't need your advice. They just need to, you know, and I think, Paula, you were talking about that at your job. You're there as the role that they're hiring you for, but you're really there like a life coach. And people come, you know, you're that person that they can speak to and, you know, get closer to God because they need that. Sometimes we don't have that type of connection, or we don't have people in our immediate friend circle that has that type of relationship either. And so as I continue, every time that I get reminded of, I don't know, every time that I get reminded of what I'm supposed to do, you know, it comes in like sometimes God will speak to me in my dreams about it. You know, when I moved out here, slowly God was like speaking to me, showing me different things. And I was just having these conversations, you know, about the book, Dear Single in Love. And I'm just like, all right, God, you keep talking to me about this book. You had me reread my own book. I done outlined some more questions and another guide. What do you want me to do? He's showing me. And then I went into one of the bookstores. Well, it's actually it's like a bodega, but they also sell books. And while I was in there with my mother when she was here to visit the first time, we were, you know, talking. She's speaking to the owner, Angela, and next thing you know, God was like, tell her about your books. And that's how I ended up getting my books in her store. And that just continued to open up more conversations with him. And he's like, all right, it's time for you to start doing workshops again, you know, in Tulsa. It's time for you to start making that mark. So I've had conversations. I haven't scheduled anything yet because I also knew I was going to be traveling the start of the year, which I did. I was ended up being gone for 6 weeks, which was great for me because it was like a retreat. So I'm now in that space, like, all right, God, okay, I'm back. I'm focused. You know, the 21 days is reminding me, is keeping me steady. But now I also know it's time for me to go out into the community. And I'm conversation topics are coming to me now. You know, 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with a recruiter. I don't want to say, I don't know what her role is, but I'm now an ambassador for Social Remote. And we were just talking about the different things that people were talking about that they needed. So one of the conversations that keeps coming up, and I actually started having this conversation last year, was a lot of adults don't know how to form friendships as an adult, right? That's one of the most difficult things because we are remote. So we are all remote workers unless someone decides to get a job here in Tulsa. We don't know how to, you know, most people, they tend to befriend the person that sits next to them. and at the office in the cubicle. But when you understand, what you're called to do, you understand discernment, you no longer do those things. You no longer act the way that we did as a child, because as children we don't know any better, right? We don't know any better. We don't know. All we know is we got assigned seats in elementary school, probably through high school, and you either continue to be friends with the person that sat next to you on the first day of class, and that became your new best friend. And because you were staying together from elementary to middle school and then possibly even to high school, that became your best friend. So here you are, 30 years old, with the same best friend who might be your best friend, but they might not be your best friend, right? That season might have expired, or that season might just have continued to form and to develop. So I was just like, Dad, like, you know what, God, I hear you. And when that person mentioned, like, if you do a workshop, please let me know, because I have a few people that are really interested in this. And I'm just like, okay. Like, I never envisioned that would be something that people would actually want. I saw it, but I didn't think, because there's certain courses and workshops that people need, but they don't know that they need yet, right? But I was just like, keep sending me the reminders, right? And you can ask God. Now, you might get overwhelmed, but if you are really ready to fully walk in His purpose, and God is telling you what to do, just ask God, can you help me to accept this walk? Help me to accept this calling. Help me to be this person that you need me to be. And continue to remind me of the why. Now that can become very emotionally, spiritually overwhelming, because you're probably going to get a lot of downloads. You're going to probably get a lot of answers. You're going to probably get a lot of responses. And that, to me, I'm okay with that now. I'd rather continuously be reminded than for God to go silent. So I ask that. I invite that. You may not be prepared to invite that. So you have to, you have to let that go. And then other ways that God has reminded me, like sometimes I will just be sitting there. So this happened, today's Friday, I think Tuesday morning. I woke up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, went back to bed. And as I was about to go back to bed, the Bible app popped open. And I was like, okay, let me know whenever that happens, especially that happened at like 3:30 in the morning. So I clicked on that, and it was Romans 12:2. And if you've been following me for a long time, Romans 12:2 is like the foundation of everything that I do, right? We cannot conform to the ways of the world. We have to, just allow God to move us and to tell us what to do, instead of doing what the world is telling us to do. And so that was like so anytime that God sends me to that scripture, I'm just like, all right, God, I hear you. I know exactly what you're saying. I know what you're doing. That was a reminder. So sometimes the reminders is not always going to be super loud. It might not come in the form of a person. It can come in the form of a very subtle message that you and God knows what's important. You know the significance of that. Whether it's a person, you keep seeing the name, you keep seeing a particular number, and it's just like every day in your face, in your face, in your face. That's a way that God is going to remind you what that purpose is. So for me, Romans 12:2 is always tied to my purpose. It's always tied to my calling. And that's when I was just like, because again, I'm asking these questions. And I'm just like, all right, God, I hear you. I know this is because I think I was like, are you sure? Are you sure I should still be doing these morning messages? Like, is this really resonating with anyone? Like I said, the first few days, no one was joining. And so I'm just like, if no one is gonna join, but then I also had to remember, just like anything else, you just gotta keep showing up, and then the people will show up. And that's something that I had to remind myself. And so once I had to shift in that and take that leap, recommit, part of that recommitment is showing up every day for the next for 21 days, showing up and just being this person, being this presence, being this vessel that is constantly helping people to remember Like that's what you're supposed to do. So I also hope that my consistency is inspiration for someone to also go out there. You probably heard me say the other day, so many times people will say more people don't need any more inspiration and motivation. They don't need more of that. And I believe that a lot of us need that in order for activation to happen, right? So many people don't see the comparisons, right? Inspiration is supposed to come and penetrate something within your spirit and within your soul to get you movement, to get you started, to get you wanting. Like you should be able to, you should walk away from an inspired moment and they start thinking about ideas or start thinking, you know what, I need to sit down and talk to God and get some understanding and clarity because that means that activation has happened. So I don't believe in the people don't need no more motivation, inspiration. It's about what it's. I know I'm a powerful voice, a powerful force. I know that. So I can't speak for everybody else, right? Some people might just want to inspire you just because they want to hear themselves speak. I honestly, that's why the clips are so. It's taking me so long. I'm really just gonna probably have to hire like a VA to go through the clips and put the clips out because I'm too critical of myself, right? I'm critical. I'm hearing my voice, and I'm just like, all I keep thinking is, why would y'all want to listen to this? You know, that's how I'm thinking, and I'm just like, I have to remind myself, it's not about you. This is about other people. You know, and so that's something that God continues to remember. He's work. He look. I'm a still work in progress. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, oh, I got it all together and I know. No, God is still working within me, even in this season. So this is why we are having these conversations because I don't want you to ever feel like, oh, once you know what your purpose is, and that means everything is all hunky dory. It's not. It's not hunky dory. It's not going to always be cute. You know, some days you're going to have to force yourself to go out there and say, okay, this is what I need. And so I just want to remind you that even when you feel lost, God hasn't forgot you. He has not forgotten your purpose, right? He has not. Sometimes you just have to start really tapping in and paying attention to what he is reminding you to do, right? I want you to definitely stay open, right? For all signs and reminders to come your way. I don't care if it's you just because everything is significant to someone, right? There's something out there that's going to be, if someone was to walk outside right now, like I know a family that when they go outside and they see a red cardinal, there's a significance to that. There is a reminder for that. Some people will go outside and the trees will blow a certain way. There's a significance to that for that person. So he's definitely always going to find a way to communicate. And this is why we have to learn as we're building that relationship with him. How does God speak to me? How does he communicate? How does God sound to you? You know, I remember growing up and you would see these movies and they were, the reenactment of how God spoke to us was always like fearful, like, like clouds rolling in, everything is dark. That's how we were raised and that's what we saw. So I know, excuse me, I know when I first started my walk with God, that's what I was expecting. Like I was expecting like this big voice, to like come and scare me, and it wasn't. Like it was, I heard God in a different way. It was nothing like what I had seen on TV. And when I have these conversations with other people, they say the same thing. Like, oh yeah, I used to think it was this, but that's not how God speaks to me. And I'm like, okay, at least I know it's not just me. Like I know I'm not bugging, that God is out here just, speaking to us in our own unique way. And, like I said, dreams is definitely a huge one that a lot of people definitely do take for granted. Um, so I want to share something, and I think I mentioned it yesterday. So I have a bonus for you all. Freebies. Who likes a freebie? I love a freebie. So I dropped my link tree in the chat. I think my link tree only went to YouTube. I'm not sure why it doesn't go to Facebook. Facebook, click. if you go to Linktree, linktr.ee/Tanisha Shanae, you are going to see Miss Inspiration Vibes playlist. I put together a playlist. Miss Paula said, if it's free, it's me. That's right, Miss Paula. So yeah, I put together a playlist of songs that, and this is pertaining to, the healing, getting back into your purpose, those types of songs that remind me of who I am, the power that I hold. I am going to also, because I realized that everyone doesn't use Spotify. I did create this link. I created this playlist on Spotify. So Spotify, if you have the free version, which most of us probably do, there will be commercials. But this list of songs, and all songs may not resonate with you. Like one of the songs I really toyed with, and I'm toying with that song only because the words, sometimes we need to be a little conceited, right? Sometimes we need to be a little conceited because a lot of us are very humble. And being humble is a beautiful thing, but being humble is not, we're not supposed to be humble all the time, right? There's certain times you got to own and be like, no, I'm that girl. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm also struggling with just the character of the person, and it doesn't align with my values. So if you end up seeing that a song is like missing, and I'm also like continuously, if things are popping up in my spirit and God is like, this song, you might see that because the playlist is going to continue to be active. So if you notice that certain songs are being removed, certain songs are being added, that's just because this is a work in progress. This is like one of those projects that we start realizing like, oh yeah, this song is also really great. But the reason why I started this playlist is because a few weeks ago I started talking to I think it was my TikTok followers, but I also think it was on Facebook. I was speaking to them about how music can inspire us, or it can deter us from the life that we're supposed to live. And I had given an example of how one of the songs that I was continuously listening to from one of my favorite artists was really not a healthy song. And it was not a song that I should have been listening to because it was keeping me in an unhealthy connection called a situationship. If you never heard of a situationship, it's basically you in this emotional tie to this person and there's no commitment, right? And it's typically one side really wants the commitment, the other side is trying to play games with you. So that's just like a long story short. And I realized that back in 2022, that this was a couple of years ago. This is not even like recent, but in like 2022, that person had said something to me and it bothered my spirit. Like my spirit was very agitated when this person said this. And like a few days later, I was driving to work and that song came on, and it made me realize that that song was contributing to me staying in that connection way beyond the expiration date. And I had been singing that song for at that point for up to like 3 years. And it's like you don't realize like the words. So it made me start thinking about how there are certain songs that can, push you in the wrong direction and you don't even realize it. But then you also have some songs that gives you instructions. So on this list, there's a song called You Got It, and I put the clean version, but listen to the words. The words give clear instructions. That is actually one song that when I meet people and they're like, I don't know how to start healing. Like, I don't know what it looks like. What am I supposed to do? They want to heal, but they don't know where. I would give them that song and I'm like, listen to the words because the words give you instructions. The instructions are right there in that song. And it gives you ideas of you can start here, 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 here. They're giving you options, right? Because you can't everybody is not ready to just start and do everything together. So that is why I, started to put this together. That song, You Got It. If you're an inspirational trailblazers, that song that's going to be the gift for this month. I'm going to give you that teaching because I did that teaching back 2021, probably at the height of the pandemic. I broke that song down and added some extra tools. So I will upload that into Inspirational Trailblazers so that you can see. Now, before we jump off, for those of you that are probably like, what is Inspirational Trailblazers? It is my online community for women 35 and over who are looking to devise a lifestyle that activates their healing and also drives them towards a life of their purpose. If that sounds like something that you are really interested in, you're looking for exclusive materials, group coaching, and different empowerment sessions that's going to help you on this journey, I do encourage you to join. If you go to that same link, you can go to the link tree that is also in the description and even the chat. You can click on that, or you can, if you're on Facebook, this is the comment that's on Facebook, you can actually click on this same link, Side Hustle Trailblazers. It will take you there. Using code March25 would get you 50% off for the first 3 months. And those first 3 months, well, every month is $20 a month. It's only one membership level right now, but it's $20 a month. But if you use March25, you would get the first 3 months 50% off, and you would get access to all the previous. So everything that's in that course is there for you, and you can definitely tap into that. So I like to just put that out there because someone out there really might just need that. And like I said, I'm always here. So if you need to connect with me, you want to talk to me, you want to learn about my books, you want to get Dear Single in Love, you want to learn about the community or any of the other courses that I have in my blog, go to my link tree and you will get access to all of that. Now you can also get that first playlist. So Miss Inspiration Vibes playlist is available. That's the first link. All right, now I'm looking at it. You can also get the solo date night bingo card. So, the weekend is coming, you don't know what to do, and you don't have a date, don't worry. Go ahead and get you the solo date night bingo card. That's also another freebie, and you'll be able to get some ideas of how things that you can do in your city and go out and enjoy. So, yeah, the link for Dear Single in Love is here. You have Transition to a Healthier You, which is my first book. And yeah, so you will get quite a bit on my link tree, and I thank you. But I thank you for those that joined me live, and again for those that stayed to the end. Hashtag replay, so that I know that you were here for the replay, and I will see you again tomorrow. I do believe that when the 21 days is over, I won't do 20. It won't be consecutive. It will probably just be weekdays. But because we started this 21 days on a Friday, we went through the weekend. We're going to keep the momentum for the rest of the 21 days, and we are going to go through the weekend as well. So I'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Time, and that which is 8 a.m. Eastern, and y'all do the rest of the configurations. But and these videos are uploaded, so you can always go back to YouTube, Facebook. Thank you, Miss Paula. Thank you. I'm happy that this is a great kickoff to the day. I'm so thankful that you appreciate it and that you are here, right? Celebrate yourself because you show up, you receive these messages, you engage, and I appreciate that. That's something that honestly I know is not always easy. For my end, it's not easy waking up and going live, especially before I start work. But I also know that it takes a lot for someone to get up and sit for 44 minutes and listen to me speak. That's a lot. Woo! But I thank you and I appreciate you. So meet me back tomorrow morning. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this. Put this message out. Share it with your friends you're following. Put it on your page. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Have a great Friday on purpose, with purpose. And I love you. And as always, God loves you as well. Have a great one.